Hello, Adam here. Glad you're with me again today. And what I've got today is a really nice, colorful painting. It's got a distance mountain, it's got some rolling hills, a really colorful green lake, and I think you're just really going to enjoy it, and I think you're going to be able to do it. So give it a try. Let's get to it. Okay, I'll start today by taking my palette knife, getting a little bit of white, and coming up and getting some Prussian blue, and we'll just mix that together. And as always today, let me get a little bit more white. I've got a 16 by 20 canvas. It's already covered with liquid white. I really like using that size. It's very accessible to a lot of folks. You can find them very cheap at different art stores, most of your regular art stores. Take a little bit of black and gray that down a little bit. Okay. And let's just try. And let me put a little more white in it. Hopefully you can see that pretty good. All right, we'll try that. Take our 2-inch brush, same brush that I used to put on the liquid white, and just get a little bit in the bristles. We don't want this to be a super bright background, but we just need to get it in there. You can put this on any way. Okay, just get it in there really as quick as you can. Don't worry about it too much. All right, and we'll just kind of blend it without doing anything at all. Just blend it. Didn't clean the brush. Just blend it together. No big deal. Okay. Really do want it to remain lighter down in here though. I'm going to grab my palette knife again. Get a little bit more white. Just put it right in here somewhere. Get a little bit of that crimson. Make kind of some pinkish looking clouds. And I'll go back to that same brush. Same brush. Didn't even need to clean it. And let's just start putting some clouds in like this. I think we've all seen clouds like that. Just kind of flat. Just kind of in there. Clouds come in all kind of shapes, all kind of sizes. It seems like often in the morning, I'll see clouds that look like this. I saw some really nice clouds over a lake the other day, and that kind of inspired this painting. Just some nice colors in there. I'm going to take and touch a little bit red, a little bit of pure red, and just darken these up just a little now, just a little bit. There we go. Doesn't take much. That gives a couple different tones in it. Makes it stand out. Okay. And then once again, I'll just kind of wipe the brush out and go over it lightly. I'll grab my palette knife again and we'll mix up a light little mountain color. I'll do it right there. I'll just get some black, put it in that same color we was working with. Little crimson in there. Yeah, I think something about like that'll work. All right, wipe off that palette knife and get a little bit on the end of it. And let's just put a distant mountain somewhere right in here. And I'll just touch. And for me, I don't always like the tops to be too pointy. All right. That wiggle down into there. And the same thing over here. Get another little peak right in there. Don't even worry about this mountain. It's in the distance. It's no big deal. Just get it on there and get it scraped out. Don't worry about it. I'm going to go back to our 2-inch brush and pull all this down. Okay. Just pull it down. Starts to work on the shape of the mountain. And right in here, this is where we'll have some mist later, so it's good to just kind of thin that out. All right. Start to form the shape of your mountain. Good. I'll go back to my palette knife again, and let's just get a little bit of this white and come right in here. Get a little more. Matter of fact, I'll just do it right here. That'll be easier. And the little bit of pink and even blue that's on my knife still, that's fine. That's going to look pretty good. Matter of fact, I'll put a little bit more of it in there. Good. Just get a little bit on the end of your knife. Now start back here on this back peak. Just touch it very light, and let it come down. Again, don't overthink this mountain, especially this one. It's just in the distance. It's no big deal. Reload my palette knife, and let's go right here. Just let it fall. No big deal. Put a little on this peak. We'll let it come out like that. Okay. You can always go back and make little adjustments, but like I said, this is just a distant mountain. No big deal. We'll come up here and see if we got enough of this blue to work with that. Yeah, we might if we add a little to it. All right, let's try that. And right over in here, we'll just put a little bit of shadow color. Good. Same right here. Such a gentle touch. It might not look like it, but it really is. At times I nearly drop the knife. And right here. Just a gentle little touch in there. Just a distant little hill, little mountain. Really no big deal. I'm gonna let that pop out a little more since it kind of happened that way. All right, go back to my 2-inch brush. I'm just gonna mist this out. Pretty good, pretty good. And if you wanted more peaks in this mountain, you could do that. There's certainly room for it. Or if you just wanted one, that'd be fine too. Really, whatever you want to do. I'll take my mop brush. You know, I like to use that. I think it really makes the mist effect about the best you can get it. Okay, good. Just a distant little mountain. Don't overthink this one. Very simple. Okay. I'll grab my 2-inch brush again. Same brush. Still using the same one. I'm going to go right back in to my initial mountain color. And just tap lightly. And I think right in here, we'll have some foothills. And for these foothills, instead of just tapping, I'm intentionally pulling down some. All right? I really want this to kind of look like trees that you can start to see just a little. Not a lot, but a little. Okay? Bring it all the way, touching and pulling down, touching and pulling down. Now come back and that'll start to blend it out. Give me an area where I can have some mist. For that, I'll probably have to take a clean brush now. I've just got a 1-inch brush. It was just laying there. But use whatever you need to. Picking up the liquid white, blending into the bottom of that hill, making the illusion of mist. Just like that. Okay. And mop brush. Pretty much always use it. If you didn't use it right here, you'd probably be okay, but I prefer it. So I use it. All right. Now I'm going to go back and grab my 2-inch brush, get a little bit of black, and then back into that color. Do a second set of hills and we'll just make it darker. And just right here. And this one I'm really going to focus on pulling down a little bit to make it really look like hills. Okay? And we'll come over here. And I'm going to start up higher. All right. And we'll drop it down. Make sure you come under that mist. Let it really show. All right. You can go back and rework your shapes a little bit. That's real simple. You just kind of let the corner of the brush do its work like this. If you wanted to bring it up a little right there, maybe there's a higher group of trees, no problem. Okay. And then we're just going to get some color down in here. All right. That's going to end up being some reflections. And we'll do the same right here. I'll go back to my palette knife and let's mix up a little watercolor. I got a little Prussian blue and some phthalo green. That is a fantastic mix for water, in my opinion. Go right back to that same 2-inch brush. And I just kind of tap and look at the color tone. All right. Having it mixed a little is absolutely just fine. All right, now just start in here. Isn't that a beautiful color? I'm going to let this get lighter and lighter and lighter. Super light. Super light. Almost no color towards the top of that. Okay. Just bring it across. Good. Very light. See how light that is towards the top? Very light. That's going to make some nice reflections. Okay. Now, since we got so much pink in the sky, we can come up and try to get a hint of that in here too. You could try to match the clouds exactly if you wanted. I don't do that. I just get the color in there. Just so we know it's there. Wipe that brush out. I've always got paper towels right here to do that and just go across. Good. And sticking with that brush, now I'll come back up here and define where the land meets the water. And I'm thinking, let's try right here. Just pull down. Pull down right here. All the way across. Okay. And go across. Go across. And now this lake starts to come to life a little bit. Grab our palette knife. Just run it right through the white. Use liquid white, but honestly, more and more I'm avoiding thinner paints as much as I can get away with it. much as I can get away with it. Sometimes you got to do it. But if I can get away with a thicker paint, I like that, because then you always have the flexibility to put something on top of it. Once you start thinning it down, it becomes harder and harder to put anything on top. Okay? And just like that, we can start to see that lake even better now. Okay, I'll pick up a fan brush and just come right back into that dark color. Maybe a little black as well. And how about right in here, let's pop in a little island. That'll look nice. Just a little one right here. And all you got to do is just hit it just like this. And all that dark stuff will become nice looking grass and weeds on that island. And then, of course, we can have ourselves a little reflection in the water. All right, set that down for a minute. Grab my 2-inch brush. Got to pull that straight down. I'll wipe it out a little bit. Go across. See how easy those reflections are? Grab the palette knife, get a little bit of white on it, and a little waterline. Got a little island sitting right there. Very simple. You can do that. And if we got an island right there, I think I'll put something on it. So I'll grab my script liner brush, and I'm just going to come right into some brown. Again, I did not thin that down in any way. All right. I'm going to try it just like this at first. If I have to thin it down, I will do that later. All right, but just roll that paint in there, and this should work just fine. I'm going to come right over here, just draw in a little tree. I think this tree will come up something about like that. Okay? And you can draw this tree in however you want to. All right, let's put another little branch coming that way, and just give it a few branches. Don't need to worry about it too much. It's in the distance. Just until you're satisfied. That's all you got to do. Okay. And we'll give him a little offshoot coming right up here. Something like that. That one really grew out there. I like it. Okay. Kind of fan the bottom of that out a little bit. And I guess if it was that close, you'd probably see a reflection right here. So let's put a reflection in the water as well. That can be pretty dark. That's just fine. Okay. We're going to cover some of that up in a little bit, so you may not need to see too much of it. Let's get this branch going. Comes out and got some branches over it. Comes down like that. Okay. Something like that. Take our brush, very, very lightly, as if I'm really even not trying to touch it. Go down and go across. I'm just looking for those little bitty lines. That's all I'm looking for. And sticking with the 2-inch brush, I'm just going to go right into some sap green. All right, just sap green. And let's come over here. This will be simple. All I'm going to do is draw. So right about here, just kind of sketching. No big deal. Mixes with the undertones of the blue. That's great. Looks really good. And we'll get some more. Do it again right here. We'll make this one a little taller. A little bit taller. Good slope. Look at that. It's kind of neat. Building our foreground. Just fill this in any old way. And we'll come back in a minute and get some grass on this thing. But right now, just put color on it. Don't even worry about it. All right, let me wipe that out a little bit. And come up and get some yellow. All right, this is where it's going to start to look like grass. I'm just tapping that till I kind of like the tone of it, till I think the paint is where it needs to be on my brush. And let's go back and take a look. There we go. Now it's starting to get some texture that looks like grass. And we're not done. We're going to put this tone in it and some lighter tones here in a little bit. So these can go on pretty quick. No big deal. Reload my brush and come to this side. Same thing. A little bit sticks up over the edge. That's good. All right, that is good. Again, this is just mainly for the texture now. Just follow the slope of the hill. Little texture on there. No big deal. Okay. Now I'm going to dip my brush in a little bit of liquid white. And come back and get some more. This will start to shine it up a little bit. Put some highlights on there. So right in here. Let's see. There we go. Now we got multiple color tones, which is very realistic. I'm just tapping lightly. Very lightly. Okay. Good. Come back to the other side. Might have to get a little more liquid white. And let's do the same thing over here. Put some bright spots on this hill. There we go. It looks good. Just follow the angles. Just kind of look at it and punch it in there. All right. And the more you touch it, the softer it'll get. So if you want the texture, just try to hit it that one time, a couple times, and not much more. There is a point where you can hit it too much and it just really kind of muddies it up. Let's leave it there. All right, let's take and build a couple trees here in the foreground. I'll grab a number 4 filbert brush and just go into some plain old titanium, plain old Van Dyke brown. All right, that's what we're using. And how about right over in here, we have a tree right there. Just a small tree. No big deal. No big deal at all. And we'll come back with a liner brush here in a little bit and work on this, work on the branches, but you just kind of get them in there for now. Not a big deal. Don't overthink it. Don't stress out about it. Just put some branches in there. We're going to get some leaves on there. Anyways, it'll cover a lot of the branches. Okay? And let's come back and begin to put a bigger tree on this other side as well. And we'll go all the way to the bottom. All the way to the bottom. All right? Come up to about right there. I'll wipe off my brush. Try not to pull that green up in there. But if a little bit comes up, it's not a huge deal. Not a huge deal at all. Okay? Good. You could make this tree a whole lot less straight if you wanted. You could put a couple trees here, however you want to do it. But in my painting, I think I'm just going to have a pretty straight tree like that. And maybe give it a branch right up in here. Just about like that. That's all I really need. Okay. And I'll go back and just touch this right into some titanium white. And let's get a highlight right here. All right. Get a good highlight on the inside of the tree. That's where I think the light is coming from this way. All right. Don't stress out over this. Get the white on there. Take your brush. Hopefully you can see. Just kind of hit it. Hit it in various spots. See that? And it starts to look like a tree with some shape to it. We'll do the same on the other side over here. For that though, I will go back to liner brush, since that tree's so small. And right over here. All right. I want to be consistent with the side where the light's coming from. I'll just run a little bit up right there. No big deal. All right, and since I got that liner, I'll highlight this one as well. All right. Just a little. Doesn't need a lot. Does make it look good though. Maybe you can see a little down in there. Okay. Now I'll grab the dark color liner and just quickly work these branches out. And all you got to do is just let them get thinner and thinner as you branch them out and bring them to the top. No big deal. All right. I think we'll leave that one about like that. Right into some dark color. A little bit of black. Now, dull it down just a little. I'm sorry, I guess that brightens it up in reality. And let's put some background leaves right up here. Don't want them too thick. Just kind of at the ends of the branches. All right. Something about like that. And we'll have a couple right here too. Can't even see where those small branches are. That's okay. That looks good. Just like that. Just a little bit. That's all you need. And we'll darken this up a little bit more. This is in the distance. It'd be a little bit darker. And right here too. Okay? Focusing at the top where those branches are to blend them into the painting. Few little leaves. And we'll get some on this guy too. Okay? Just like that. You might see a couple here. All right. Good. I'm just going to wipe this out, but you can get a clean brush if you prefer to. All right, I'm going to touch a little bit of liquid white. Not a lot. And let's just come into all this little mix right here. A little bit of green. There's a little yellow in there. Just so I like the tone of it. And let's just come up and put just a little color. This wouldn't be much. At this time of day, it would not be super bright. I'm just touching in a few spots. That's all I'm doing. All right. Just gives a little bit of that leaf color in there. That's really all I'm looking for. All right. Do the same up here. Right, make sure you leave some of the dark in there. You don't want to get rid of all that. A few little leaves. And then back in here, we'll do the same thing. Get a little bit more liquid white. Just a little bit of color on this one as well. Don't need too much. Okay. All right, since we're on that island, let me go back to my fan brush and I'll get it in a little bit of green as well. And this also doesn't need to be too bright. But, you know, right here, we can do a little grass color on this island. Blend the bottom of that tree just a little. And maybe we can get a couple longer things going there. All right, no big deal. Just to give it a hint of grass color on that island. That's all we're doing. Okay, good. Maybe I'll go back to that liner brush and pop in a couple like that. All right. And back to the fan brush. Got a little of that green color in it. I just come in here and just kind of clean up the bottom of the trees. I just put a little bit of something going on there. At the bottom of a tree, there may be some shadow. There may be some, you know, if those are pine trees, some pine needles down there. But ultimately, just a little something just to hide the bottom of the tree. Don't need much. And we'll get a little bit sticking up right here just to match the other side. And again, not much, just a little. And we'll come and grab a liner brush, get it into a little bit of liquid white. Okay. And just get some color on it. Various colors, grassy looking colors. All right, we'll just hide the bottom of that tree some and get some grass in here. No big deal. Put a little bit in here. Still pretty far away. Wouldn't need much going on there. Let's run that right through some liquid white. Just for some contrasting grass colors. Get a little bit over here. You might not even hardly see it. Just a little. Okay. Grab my 2-inch brush one more time. Get a little bit more of that liquid white. And just hit this one more time right in here. Make that a little bit brighter. There we go. What's left of the sun is coming in and sparkling right there just a little bit. Okay. Maybe a little bit more right here. There we go. A little bit of that sun just hitting right there on the top of that hill, sparkling that up. Same thing in here. Okay. We'll run through a little bit of liquid white. Maybe put a couple lines in here, right? A couple water lines. That's always a nice effect. Maybe you put one right over here. It'll help that to look like it's blended in the paint. Maybe one up in here. Okay? Just wherever. And then you can go back with your mop brush or whatever you want to use and blend those just a little bit. Or you could leave them if you like them. No big deal. And maybe just add some texture right back back over in this corner. Okay. All right. And now we're just kind of nitpicking. Okay. And with that, I think we'll call this one complete. I hope you enjoyed this painting. I hope you'll give it a try. And remember, if I can paint, you can too. See you next time.